Blue Beetle is an excellent microcosm of everything that's wrong with the modern superhero film. While it avoids the utterly diarrhea-drenched depths of something like The Flash from this year or Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, one could argue this almost works against it. Whereas those films are memorable for their infuriating incompetence and staggering stupidity, this is instead so bland and forgettable on every facet, I was concerned I'd have forgotten so much by the time I got home that a review would be impossible. Every single tired, moronic superhero cliche and trope has been incorporated into this dung heap. We have the aggressively unfunny comedy shoved in every 5 seconds, the hilariously stupid and mind-numbingly generic plot riddled with so many holes it acted as a sort of logic sieve, the unbearably one-note cringeworthy caricatures that this movie wants to pass off as characters, which also spout embarrassing dialogue that had me squirming in my seat, and the terrible CGI and production design, which, while for the most part is better than the MCU's latest offerings, still looks like it came from 2001. It's almost impressive how perfectly Blue Beetle has managed to so succinctly summarize the absolute dregs of this genre. It's as if they had a list of them that they were ticking off one by one. They even managed to commit to the absolute staple of the most modern examples, that being social commentary levied with the subtlety and grace of a drunken boar careening through a glass sculpture exhibition. The acting is so mediocre that not a single performance was even close to memorable, with the possible exception of Belissa Escobedo as Mila purely because of how much she got on my nerves. She felt like an Awkwafina character, spouting the most obnoxiously on-the-nose rubbish you could possibly conceive. No single word passed her lips that didn't make me either roll my eyes or recoil from wincing too hard. However, it's debatable whether any of the cast can be blamed for this, considering what they had to work with. What could anyone have done with such stale, simple slabs of meat, devoid of any chemistry or charisma beyond the most watered-down familial relations that you'd expect to see in a 1990s sitcom? Paulo Mariduena is probably the most tolerable, as there were moments I could accept him as Blue Beetle, thinking back to Anthony Del Rio's performance in Injustice 2. However, Jaime himself was about as complex and engaging as a soggy box of cornflakes. The plot is so fucking dull and lacking in even the slightest smidgen of creativity that I'd be astonished if it wasn't written by AI. The sheer extent of its unoriginality is baffling. We have the generic evil corporation, the generic nice poor family who all love each other versus the rich family who are uncaring assholes, the generic daughter of evil rich company who wants to stray away from her surroundings and become a good guy, the generic thug who serves as the mirror for the hero for the CGI showdown that was done better by Iron Man in fucking 2008. Hell, the Incredible Hulk had better fight scenes than this shit. I will commend them for at least trying to develop carapax. Fucking seriously. However, it was still both nothing new and over the top, yet again pushing the oppressing minorities is bad message as though we didn't get enough of it already throughout the rest of the movie. I just can't be bothered dissecting it in much detail, as if a human being actually wrote it. I'm convinced if that was a human, it was done by a child playing with action figures, which Carapax in his suit actually resembles, only it's one from the Tuffins pound aisle. I think the worst part in the entire film might be the recurring taunt Carapax says to Jaime, "Your love for your family makes you weak." To which, in the climax, Jaime finally retorts, "You're wrong. My love for my family? That's what makes me strong." I'm not kidding, by the way, or paraphrasing. These are actual lines of dialogue. A professional writer was paid money to produce that, and the director and producers all accepted it as good enough. If that doesn't sum up this project as a whole, then I don't know what will. Somewhere in the innermost caverns of this husk lie the granules of a good film. There are the occasional sequences that had the genesis of a good idea, but they lacked any sort of competent development, and they had the polish and finesse of a Derek Savage production. I'm just staggered that now, in 2023, we're still getting films like this, absolute black holes of passion and imagination. I earnestly hope Blue Beetle flops, because we need to send the message to these studios that they're going to have to do a lot better than this if they want our hard-earned money. I genuinely don't recommend you bother going to see this. You're not missing anything, and if you've watched a superhero flick in the last decade, you've pretty much seen it already.